This week's vlog question comes on the subject of parenting. A parent asks, as a parent, I hear many words that describe what I'm supposed to be doing with my children. I get confused about how to use punishment, consequences, discipline, training, and instruction. At times, I think they're all synonyms referring to the same thing. Other times, I get the sense that each is unique. Sometimes I begin to feel like I need a glossary and the ability to pass some elaborate matching quiz to fulfill what God expects of me as a parent. Can you help me think through this dilemma? As I've thought about your question, it kind of reminds me of a classic Yogi Berra quote. When Yogi Berra went to a pizza joint and the guy asked him, he said, "Do you want this pizza cut into 4 slices or 8?" And Yogi said, "You better make it 4. I don't think I can eat 8." There is a sense in which we have one pie that is parenting and we can slice it up in lots of different ways, but it's the same basic responsibility and interaction. But that doesn't make your question insignificant. I do think there's some things that we can look at in the unique meaning of each of the kinds of words that you brought up that would be beneficial. But I don't want it to feel like, as parents, that we have to be Peyton Manning-esque, calling audibles, knowing the right word for every play we need to run in interaction with our children. But let's take some time to look at each of the words that you brought up and what role it plays within parenting. Consequences. These are just the natural implications of bad decisions that our kids make. When we let them fail a test and reap the consequences of that, when they leave their bike out in the rain and it rusts, there are times when we allow life to teach our children by allowing consequences to have their impact. Now, consequences are different from punishment. Punishment is when we add extra negative consequences for the purpose of opening blind eyes or softening a hard heart. There's times when, even with natural consequences, our kids don't get the significance of what happened, and we as parents add additional consequence to that for the purpose of getting their attention. This may be things like spanking, timeout, or a financial penalty of having a child lose part of their allowance for something that they did. Now, in addition to that, there is discipline. This is where we just structure life in such a way that wisdom and righteousness are easier to see and obtain. We should organize our homes in such a way that it is conducive to our kids growing in character. This is where, as a family, having a balanced daily and weekly routine that our kids can understand and that's predictable for them, or having a consistent bedtime so that our kids are well rested, that is part of just the discipline of our household. Now, training, that's the actions and practices required to make wisdom and righteousness a more natural habit. And so here we'd be talking about things like chores. That our kids begin to understand what it is to be a part of a family, and they understand the activities that mean I am identifying with and investing in this family. Family devotions, that there's a spot in their day that they know that we're going to sit down, we're going to study the scriptures, we're going to pray together, there's going to be a time to ask questions, and that this is an important part of our family life. Now, instruction is when we take the opportunity for there to be a verbal explanation that put into words the principles and values that we've been placing in their life through discipline and training. These are the kinds of conversations that we have after a time of punishment, where we help them understand what made their actions foolish or wrong. It's the conversations that we have when we praise and affirm those mature moments, or those moments when we see our kids caring for a sibling, a family member, a friend in a special way. Or just the time when our kids bring us a question and we help them think through some of the difficult decisions that they face. Now, knowing these definitions does not make parenting easy. Parenting is honestly hard work. But what we want to do with these kind of definitions is we want to know what are the different kinds of interactions. We want to be able to assess as parents, which of these do I naturally do well? Which of these do I need to be very intentional about or I would neglect, so that I use the full arsenal of techniques available to me as a parent to influence my child and to shape their character for Christ and the gospel. I hope this is helpful and look forward to fielding other questions. Thank you.